Welcome back to another episode of Still Scrolling. We have important news. We recasted Justin with a white guy. Okay, Kevin, movie man, right? Say hello to everybody.
How's it going, everyone? How you doing? I'm not completely white, by the way, so but
I'm mixed, okay?
yeah, I'm mixed.
Yeah.
I'm half Cuban, half not. So
Nice.
thank you for having me on. I'm very excited to join you guys.
I
Absolutely.
think Justin, he got recasted, but I think he got something a whole lot better. He got offered, I think, an impossible mission that he got
Something
to go
like
on.
that. Some sort of spy
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, I hope he
yeah.
makes it out, and I'm really rooting for him. Hoping he solves this impossible mission.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Justin got invited to the Mission Impossible premiere in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So he's over in New York right now. He abandoned us, so we called in the big guns, Kevin, to come and help us out. Very, some might call it kismet, because this episode is very heavily focused on movies. Okay, so the box office is starting to see a bit of a surge, right? Just weekend after weekend, there's something new coming out. There's, I wouldn't necessarily say they're all bangers, but they're making money. Okay, and then from a certain point of view, that's what's important. Stefania, what have you got for us today? What did you stop scrolling on?
So, two movies came out this weekend that are pretty notable. One being Final Destination Bloodlines, the newest in the Final Destination franchise, and also the most profitable and most successful. So, for Final Destination Bloodlines, they domestically reached $51 million,
It's nuts.
and internationally $51 million. So, they literally made over $100 million in one weekend.
That's nuts.
Opening weekend, which is crazy, which is a record for the movie franchise, by the way. This is the most successful one out of the whole franchise. And I heard some really great things about this movie. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes for critic reviews, 147, and 89% over 2,500 reviews for the general audience, which is pretty damn good for this franchise. I haven't seen it. I have not actually seen any Final Destination movie. I've seen, when I was a kid, iconic scenes like the log in the truck scene, right? I drive behind those things sometimes and I freak out too. So I will probably at some point get to watching those movies. But the next movie that came out this weekend that flopped on the critics side, I will say. On the audience side, they pretty much kind of liked it. It's mixed. So, the weekend's new movie, Hurry Up Tomorrow, came out this weekend. I was actually going to go see it, and then I decided not to. One, I couldn't, and two, I saw literally everything online anyway. So, this stars Barry Keoghan and Jenna Ortega, and it came out with a rotten 15% on Rotten Tomatoes with 61 reviews for critics, 68% for the for verified ratings, 250 plus reviews. Which is not really that great, but it's, better than 15%. Yeah, I've seen this stuff online, with the shut the fuck up, shut up. Yeah, yeah. I love The Weeknd. I love his music. Acting, I don't know, babe. I don't know.
I don't think so.
What do you guys think? What would you guys see online with these movies?
I mean, I saw Final Destination Bloodlines. I'm a ginormous fan of the franchise, so I've seen probably all of them except 4 because it's absolute ass, like 10, 20 times. So, I mean, I was super hyped to see it. It's so nice to see, like, a new generation kind of pick up this movie because, like, I think the 4th one came out, or the fifth one came out in 2011, so there hasn't been a new one for 14 years, so the fact that it's doing that well in the box office is just telling you that, like, the younger generation is going to see it, the older generation is going to see it. It's kind of awesome. I loved it. I think it's the best in the franchise. So I think you're going to see a 7, an 8, and a 9 coming soon. Because, I mean, if it's making this money, they're just going to keep pumping them out. It's kind of the same with the way the Scream franchise kind of rebooted with the 5th one. I could see that doing that with the Final Destination franchise. I have no interest of seeing the Weekend movie at all. Like no interest whatsoever. I also didn't even know Barry Keoghan was in it as well, so that's kind of like
Yeah.
news to me. Poor guy. But
Yeah.
And Jenna Ortega, like, she's a great actress too. It's like,
yeah, and I've seen
They
all like the conversations going around about her like not picking good projects and like what is she doing. I hadn't seen Death of the Unicorn, so I don't know if that's. I've heard some people liked it, I heard some people didn't like it. But I mean, she's like 22 years old, so like, I mean, she got plenty of time to do
got time.
whatever she feels she needs to do. But yeah, I go see Final Destination Bloodlines. It's awesome.
I think Hurry Up Tomorrow has probably a few issues, right? But I think they Gal Gadotted it, where they're like, oh, you know, The Weeknd is in this movie. Let's go watch it for The Weeknd, aka like what they do with Gal Gadot or Dwayne Johnson, what they did with Dwayne Johnson, because I think Smashing Machine's probably going to change the game, his career path a little bit, but that's a whole separate topic. But I think they were like, hey, this is The Weeknd's movie. And then you get there and it's like, he's playing himself. And as it turns out, the Idol TV show wasn't an isolated incident. He actually can't act. He cannot act. He is a musician. And sometimes that's okay to be just a musician. Right? Final Destination, I'm starting to slowly realize it. And like, in my like kind of subconscious, I was brewing this theory like, yo, are the 2000s back? You know, or the 90s, early 2000s back?
Recession indicator.
Well, yes, correct. But also, from like a pop culture entertainment perspective, right? We've got horror making this big comeback. We've got kind of these throwback style movies where, it's like vampires, but like there's some sort of like an added twist in there, right? Like, oh, it's a vampire, but they're like sexy and complex, like Tom Cruise in Interview with the Vampire, or Twilight, I guess, for the younger crowd. We've got obviously, right, literal soft reboots of franchises, right? The Final Destination movies. We got the Scream movies, which kind of, I don't know if they're gonna recover from losing their two main stars from the reboot. I'm not sure Courtney Cox and what's her face are gonna be able to deliver this point. Neve Campbell.
Yeah.
But I mean, Hollywood seems to have circled back on that kind of genre and what they tend to focus on. But what really bothers me about Hollywood right now is that they're not giving enough credit to Zack Snyder for inventing movies. Okay, there's not one mention of Zack Snyder in Final Destination. There's not one mention of Zack Snyder in Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is probably a good thing. The Minecraft movie didn't mention him. Sinners didn't mention him. No Zack Snyder references or not even a credit. Not even a special thanks in the credits to Zack Snyder for inventing cinema.
How dare they? How dare
so for those
That
of
was
you
a great
watching,
segue, by the way.
it was right.
Yeah. Just to be very proud of that.
Yeah. Kevin, my segues are terrible. So Justin typically hosts. Yeah.
Sometimes Justin's segues are like, that doesn't make any sense. We just go with it anyway.
That's true. We just right. Yeah. So for those of you listening, if you might not know, there's a discourse happening right now where the new Superman movie has given us, I think, the final trailer before the movie comes out.
Yeah, probably.
And the certain group of the fandom has stitched together footage from the trailer and footage from Man of Steel and put it side by side and ignored all nuance and context and said that it's basically James Gunn ripping off Zack Snyder, and it's kind of reignited this discourse around, what people like us jokingly refer to as Zack Snyder invented movies, invented cinema. He's a time traveler and actually invented comic books and Superman. So it's frustrating to say the least. But Kevin, you actually made a video. You've been talking about this online on your channels. What's going on as our special correspondent?
The special James Gunn, Zack Snyder correspondent. I mean, I play kind of in the middle because I like Man of Steel. I
Hmm.
actually even don't hate BVS. I mean, I don't. I mean, so I don't have anything against Zack Snyder. I actually somewhat like Zack Snyder. I like 300. I like Dawn of the Dead. I like a lot of his films. There's nothing against Zack Snyder at all. But like this whole like notion that like first that James Gunn even needs to copy anyone because like if you haven't been paying attention, James Gunn's probably been the best comic book director of the past decade, 10 years or so. I mean, he's pumping out banger after banger after banger. Suicide Squad, the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. I mean, the guy literally doesn't miss when it comes to superhero movies lately. So I mean, I don't think he needs to copy anyone. And I mean, they're comic books. They're very a lot of the storylines are very similar, regardless. Like a lot of stories are going to intertwine. A lot of things are going to look similar. You could even say, in a way, Captain America: Civil War and BVS have somewhat similar
Hmm.
situations going on. You know, like it's comic books. It's how it works. And my thing is like, I mean, I don't know how you could even compare them to because there's obviously a different. Zack Snyder's is a lot darker, a lot grittier. Obviously, James Gunn's going for the more lighter, you know, actual comic book looking film. And again, I like Man of Steel, I like BVS, but it just feels like a general James Gunn flair. You know, the look of it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy, very reminiscent of that. And I just don't. It's so weird to me that like people they have such a like. It's almost like an insecurity of like I gotta stick up for Zack Snyder because for some reason, like everyone's out to get him because his movies were mainly not well liked in his DCU universe. Like, I mean, it was a mess, and it wasn't all Zack Snyder's fault. I mean,
Hmm.
everyone knows that. But like, you gotta understand that his universe was a mess. Like, it
Yeah.
was all a mess.
Yeah.
You know, like so. I mean, I don't. It's almost like they're just so frustrated and upset because he didn't get to finish out his mission, and now I'm going to take it out on a guy that's actually trying to give us, you know, a good Superman story, and you know, like it's just a weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
It's very crabs in a bucket, right? Like
Yeah,
if I can't have my thing, nobody else can have anything. And it's
yeah.
kind of like, I don't know, man. I'd rather have like a Superman story, even if
My
it's
thing is,
not like,
my thing is, it's over. My thing is, it's over. It's been
right.
over for a long time. Like it's done. It's like it's over. Like move on. Like
Yeah.
it's not. It's
Yeah.
never coming back. The
Yeah.
Snyderverse is never coming back. People, like I'm
I
sorry
love
to
it.
tell
I'm sorry.
you, it's not coming back. So just move on.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Stefania?
Um, I like I, I'm gonna go off what you said. Yeah, I liked Man of Steel. That's probably like I enjoyed Henry Cavill as Superman. I liked Man of Steel. I enjoyed some of those DCEU movies. But like you can't keep comparing the old DCEU and then the new DCU. Like you can't just do that because James Gunn is a different director. His style is different. His are more comic booky, like you said. He and people enjoy that. I mean, there are people that enjoy the Snyder movies as well, like the grittiness of it, the darkness of it. Yeah, but it's kind of refreshing, like seeing a comic booky Superman again, you know, from Christopher Reeve all the way back there and like Smallville with Tom Welling. Like, it's refreshing to see that again. And I'm glad we're back in that era, and I'm excited for this new Superman movie. And I enjoy James Gunn's projects all the time. So I'm pretty excited for this movie to come out. And I think compared to we have three big movies coming out. We have Superman, Jurassic World, and Fantastic Four. Out of all three of them, I know we mentioned this earlier about one of them flopping. One of them flopping, right? I think Jurassic World is going to be the least successful out of all three of them. No, you don't think so? What?
Not
Okay.
even close.
How?
Not even close.
Oh,
I
I.
only say that because, well, here's the thing. The original writer for Jurassic Park has returned to write the script for this one, right? That's a very big plus. I'm just going based off of the fact the other last two Jurassic World movies weren't really that successful, or at least the last one wasn't that
Look it
popular.
up. Look it up right now.
Was it successful?
It made over $1 billion. Jurassic World Dominion.
Really?
1 billion with a B?
B.
I'm kind of looking at it like I guess what people thought of the movie, because it wasn't like the best out of all three.
Yeah, but now you got to realize you got ScarJo also heading this thing, so ScarJo's coming to do it.
Yeah.
People love dinosaurs, man. Like
265 million. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife would never go to a movie all year. The one movie she's going to want to go to is a Jurassic World movie. She loves dinosaurs. People will come out for dinosaur movies. It's nuts.
Including my brother, yes, because he loves dinosaurs and loves Jurassic Park. He grew up 4 years old. He watched the movie. But anyway, but you have to also think about people love Pedro Pascal. People are in love with Pedro Pascal, and compared to Fantastic Four, I don't know.
I think, just to circle back on the Superman conversation, I think Superman is
like,
going to...
I don't want to be done with the conversation.
No, I just think it's the only one of the three that I think has a bit of a stain when it comes to the discourse, the conversation around it. And not because it's necessarily anything it did, but it's the reality of that fandom. And the most famous person in that movie is Lois Lane, arguably, right? I mean, Corin Sweat was in Twisters?
Probably Nicholas Hoult, but he's not like a draw. Yeah. He's not going to draw anyone.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, so I think that one's probably just gonna not necessarily flop, but make the least. I think
we'll have to look back at this when the movies come out and see who was right.
Finally, we get a prediction episode.
Yes.
My money is on Fantastic Four flopping. And not like, okay, when I say flopping, I'm not saying like an utter disaster. I think all of these movies will somewhat do okay. Like, I don't think they're going to be like disasters. I think Jurassic World, you guys are going to be crazy when I say this, could possibly be like the highest grossing film of the year other than Avatar. And I mean that. I mean that. Like, it's probably going to be the second or third highest grossing movie of the year.
Wait, Avatar comes out this year?
Yeah, the end of the year. December. Yeah.
God, that pisses me off so much because Avatar, I don't think, Stefania, I don't think you know this about me, but if there is one thing in the entirety of human existence that I could not care less about, it is James Cameron's Avatar franchise. I don't, and I know that it's not bad. I know that it's not like, I don't think it's terrible or that it's crap or I'm not being a hater in that sense. I just don't.
It just doesn't grab you. It doesn't make you excited.
It doesn't grab me either, to be honest.
Yeah. So
yeah, I get that. But back to what I was saying as far as the flopping, I think Jurassic World's going to do amazingly. I think if I put money on it, I guarantee you the Snyder heads are going to hate watch this movie. So they're going to go see the movie, even if they want to hate it or not. They're not going to not see it. They're going to go see it so they can make their videos and they can talk crap and everything. I just think Fantastic Four, we saw it with Thunderbolts, and yeah, I get it. I get it. Thunderbolts isn't the Fantastic Four. That they're not, you can't really compare. But like, I really thought that movie was going to do a lot better than it did. I thought the marketing was amazing. I thought the movie was good. And I don't know, man. I feel like MCU movies are just kind of like...
MCU is plateauing.
They're kind of floundering a little bit.
Plateauing, yeah. I would say until Doomsday and Secret Wars and maybe the next Spider-Man movie comes out, it's going to continue to plateau.
Post reboot or whatever, I think it's just going to kind of stay steady. And I have a theory that Fantastic Four is just going to be they lose and their world gets destroyed, and that's how the movie ends.
It's kind of like a no-brainer at this point, I feel like.
They're going to do a reverse Tony Stark, but with Reed Richards. Because Tony Stark, we got to see him face adversity, but he made it, he won. And then we got 10 movies, 14 movies of Tony Stark just being a badass, and then he finally loses in Infinity War, and the audience is just left with that, and we're like, oh shit. there's no other way to get somebody as invested other than doing the complete opposite and giving us Pedro Pascal, who's so hot right now, and giving him L after L after L. He's gonna lose his world, lose his planet, and then by the time we get to Secret Wars, we're gonna be like, yeah, Reed, because it's like, please, we need this for him to succeed. Because
off on a tangent a little bit, do we think? I've seen discourse too about like how a lot of people they're a little worried about Doomsday because I guess it doesn't have. I guess it only has what, like 10 months, 11 months from when they finished filming, from when I guess they just started filming, and like everyone's saying, how are they going to have enough time to? I made a video about this of like, they kind of kept the same structure for like Infinity War and Endgame. They came out a year from each other, and they kind of didn't have a ton of time to film, except Endgame did because they filmed it like right after Infinity War. Do you guys worry at all that like, just because the track record, I know like we can get, that's a whole other topic of like the track record of the MCU, is it really that bad or is it still good, whatever? But like, are you worried that like the MCU is not really kind of in the place it was? Like, it was a well-oiled machine when Infinity War and Endgame kind of came around.
Yeah.
And right now I feel like they are kind of grabbing at straws with like bringing back James Marsden and bringing back all these people. Like, do you think like they have enough time to pull this together and make it look like good?
What do you think, Stefania? You're the X-Men. Half of that cast is built for just Stefania specifically. So
yeah, and I'm very excited. I want to say if they keep that same structure they did with Infinity War and Endgame, I think they can make the release dates on time. However, based off of recent movies and events, whatever, announcements, there is a big possibility that one of them could get pushed back. Or one of them will, like Doomsday will, then Secret Wars will have to get pushed back as well. Because we've seen that recently where a lot of things have been getting pushed back. I think recently the VFX artists just like got like a huge thing on their next contract for like better pay and stuff like that, and work environment and hours, whatever. I forgot what it was, but that's a huge thing for VFX artists. So that could, mean that things may run much more smoothly with the post-production process. So we could see the release dates stay as they are. But like I said, recently we've seen a lot of pushbacks. Like I mentioned this earlier before the pod, but with Avatar, the new Avatar movie getting pushed back, I think 8 months for that. But that obviously hasn't started any production with it yet, but still, it got pushed back.
I think this is all also accounting for the production process before Superman comes out. Because my theory is Superman's going to come out. They're going to see that the Russo brothers are going to see it, and they're going to be like, oh, shit, Zack Snyder is the blueprint. And it's going to add to the production time of Doomsday because they're going to add a bunch of slow-mo to it. Because they're gonna follow
I was wondering where you were gonna go with that.
You could tell. You heard it. You heard it in my voice. Yeah.
I did not see it going that way, but then it made sense.
Yeah. No, I think my only concern, not only, but like my biggest concern with Doomsday is that it's gonna hit the Infinity War general plot lines too on the nose, and we're just gonna go and see Infinity War again, and we're gonna have Sam Wilson's Avengers versus the new Avengers, or maybe not versus, but like the two separate teams, and then but now it's just 4 teams instead of the 2 Civil War split or whatever.
I think they were gonna do an Avengers versus X-Men. I heard that.
Something like that.
Yeah. My problem with all of this is, and I'm excited for Doomsday, but my issue mainly is, I just don't feel. Are you gonna feel the excitement with like how? Because they're trying to compare it to Infinity War, but like when Infinity War came, we had almost 11 years of some of these characters. Like, my thing is like, am I gonna be excited seeing Sam Wilson's, and it's nothing against Sam Wilson, but like Sam Wilson's like Avengers that like have never worked together? You got to realize by the time Infinity War came around, we already saw them work together in Civil War. We already saw a lot of them work together in Age of Ultron, Avengers. Like we already had that like camaraderie of watching them kind of like work together, so it was fun to watch. I've been the biggest person complaining about where's Shang-Chi, but like you're just gonna all of a sudden throw Shang-Chi on a team with Sam Wilson's Captain America and like She-Hulk and like a bunch of random people that we've never seen work together, and we're supposed to be like, yeah, this is amazing. Like I just don't know.
I think COVID had a big impact on all that, and I feel like we would have gotten a lot more things if COVID never happened. So we probably would have already gotten like an established team. We probably already would have developed a relationship with these characters. Maybe not
a bit more cohesive at least.
Yeah, maybe not in the same. Maybe not in like 10, 11 years the way the first couple phases of the MCU did it up to Infinity War. But we would have had like still a good amount, maybe 5 years of just a team build up to this big moment. Yeah. So, unfortunately, COVID did happen, pushed back things, canceled a lot of projects. I'm sure we would have had another Shang-Chi movie at some point in between.
Or just an appearance, just a cameo at least.
Yeah. So, it's crazy how, like, one small thing, COVID is a big thing, but, like, one small thing like that can impact these huge things, like the way the MCU is going, you know? But it had to happen.
I used to feel pre-COVID, I used to be like, tell me if you guys feel similar. I used to feel like, man, I'm kind of cool. I'm a cool guy. I don't have cable. I've just got like streaming. I've got Netflix. I've got HBO. Like I'm so cool. And then 2020, and then 2020 hit, and streaming was it for everybody.
Yeah.
So I think it's not just so much the production schedules and setbacks and all that stuff for these projects, but also the fact that all these companies pivoted towards make content, go, and they were just kind of throwing money at it, trying to get things rolling. So we have things like, Shang-Chi will show up at some point. Don't worry about it. They weren't focused on that. They were trying to more go towards the catalog model, like the actual comic book model, where there's a bunch of different comics. Sometimes they connect, sometimes they don't. It doesn't matter if it's not immediate because of the nature of the medium. With movies, and specifically a cinematic universe, you kind of need that stickiness in like a somewhat close together time frame, or else you end up with literally like the Snyderverse, where you had Man of Steel and it was decent, it was okay, right? I have my qualms with the but then it was like what, 10 years later or 7 years later before I think it was BVS, right? And then Wonder Woman and all that stuff, and then whatever, we can that's a whole other topic for like the varying levels of quality there. But I think if they would have jumped on that way sooner, I think the Snyderverse would still be around and it'd probably be thriving at this point.
I somewhat agree. And back to the Sam Wilson thing, I almost feel like too, they kind of dropped the ball with Captain America Brave New World, where like I didn't hate Captain America Brave New World. Like I gave it like a 3 out of 5. I think it was fine.
Yeah.
But like I think that entirety of the movie should have been, the whole point of it should have been Sam Wilson putting together an Avengers team. Like that should have literally been the point of the entire movie. Because then you can go into Thunderbolts, and you guys all seen Thunderbolts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Regardless, I'm sure you would have gotten spoiled it by now. But like at the end, when they're like, trademark, and they're gonna go sue them, like at least you would have had like kind of like an idea of that team in your head, and you'd been like, oh, that team from Brave New World is now going after the Thunderbolts for the Avengers name, and like you would kind of have like an idea of like what that looks like,
Yeah.
But like instead they gave us kind of like this half-baked story, like that, it was fine, but like did it really further the progression of, I don't know.
Not from a larger universe, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it was just like, oh, there's adamantium.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter because we're going to reboot everything anyway. And adamantium's probably going to just be like, it exists. Oh, Wolverine's around? Yeah, okay. And they're never
Yeah.
going to talk about adamantium again, right?
Never again.
Unless
Yeah.
what's his name? God,
Striker.
what's his... no, not Striker and Thunderbolts. What's his name? His taco shield.
Oh,
Oh,
Walker.
yeah,
Unless he
Walker.
gets like an adamantium shield, like that'll
Maybe.
be another thing, you know,
Maybe.
because Valentina she'll finagle something and get him an adamantium shield.
yeah. It's definitely a mess, and I think overall, even if Doomsday misses the mark, I think they'll land it. They'll stick the landing with Secret Wars, and they'll give us something to kind of look forward to with afterwards, because Secret Wars
Yeah.
literally rebooted the comic universe, right? It brought in Miles
Yeah.
Morales. It
Yeah.
kind of fixed the multiverse or whatever. So I think, this is all just kind of like, also what doesn't get talked about a lot is Kang wasn't well received, aside from the Jonathan Majors drama, right? Like people didn't like him for whatever reason. Maybe it was.
I think King was actually okay. I think that movie was just ass. Like, it was
Yeah.
so bad. It
I
kinda
think
just,
it was
like,
fine. The ants
Yeah.
thing didn't bother me. Like, whatever, like the plot is the plot, bro. It's a comic book movie. I think he could have been a really cool villain, especially with the Coliseum of Kangs and all that stuff. And it's a shame that did kind of get scrapped.
Yeah, and I think that kind of like that threw a wrench too. And I kind of feel like, and then we can move on because I know I kind of got on a tangent, but I think Doomsday too. I think a lot of people need to keep their expectations not like low, but like I think this is going to be more of a like a transitional movie. I don't think I think people may go into this thinking it's going to be like an Avengers Infinity War situation. It's going to be this crazy epic, like, I think this is going to be kind of like just simply the setup movie for Secret Wars, which is going to be this just giant, like, spectacle. Yeah, I think this movie is just going to be mainly used to introduce Doom, kind of get these teams formed, kind of get, like, I think this may be the movie where you kind of get to know Sam Wilson's Avengers a little bit better, and then you go into Secret Wars, and then you add in the Fantastic Four and all these other characters, and it kind of like starts to blend together a little bit.
That reminded me of like different storytelling structures. So like, I don't know, when you guys went to go see Sinners, right? The structure to that story isn't really like your traditional, like, build up, set up, climax, resolution, whatever. Like it kind of has a bit of a different flow. I think the post Endgame MCU is like that, right? Like it's not that it's bad, it's just different. It's, some of it is not great, but it's just different. It's not what we're used to, and I think that's where a lot of the heat, it just gets a lot of the heat that way. But I think regardless of all that, one thing everybody can agree on, and Stefania is probably leading the charge on it, is that at least we're getting the X-Men. They're fine. It's finally happening.
Yes. Right? And I will say that because Secret Wars reboots the entire universe, and I believe the next saga will be the Mutant Saga, I think if they went back to how they did the first few phases of the MCU, just make it cookie cutter. Just do that exact same thing. Have that build up. Have this... have these like moments with these characters where we can build an attachment to them and grow to love them, and then sob when they die and later on 10 years later, right? Like with Tony Stark. Spoiler alert.
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh wait, he's returning as Doctor Doom. What are you talking about?
Right? That's Dr. Doom.
That's a whole other thing. I just want to know already, and I have no self control. I know damn well I'm gonna immediately spoil myself just to find out what the fuck is the story about Victor Von Doom as RDJ. Is it a variant? Is it just this version of Doom? But then like the Beyonder is Cillian Murphy, which is who I think it should have been. What's the deal?
Yeah, my thing is I've heard people say like, oh, like he's just gonna play Doctor Doom and he's gonna be like just behind the mask. And my thing is like, you're not getting RDJ to come play this character and put him behind a mask the entire time. Like, there's a bigger picture to this. He's getting paid buckets of money. You're not going to, like, hire RDJ to put him behind a Doctor Doom mask the entire time. I don't think there's a Cillian Murphy type setup or anything like that.
Right.
I think it's simply going to be... I think it'd be cool if it was like a variant, just simply because I think I would love to finally see that interaction between Spider-Man and then Peter Parker, and he sees this like variant. That's going to be one of the most insane interactions ever. You see your mentor's face on someone else. It's like the biggest supervillain in the universe, and like that just adds to more Peter Parker trauma.
Yeah.
The,
Add that to what he sees in the void.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Yeah.
Poor guy.
Absolutely.
Him and the Punisher were just fighting for their lives.
I think what was it? The Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. I think it's workable right now. They could make it work, and it could resonate with audiences and in the universe with the characters. Is it going to be sustainable after? That's kind of what I want to see. Like, are they going to stick him around? Because I don't know what his contract is. I think the contract is just these 2 movies.
That's it, probably.
I think it's just these 2 movies. I think it's going to end with him like either getting defeated in Secret Wars, and that's it, and they move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely have to wait and see, but not to harp too much on, like geeky superhero comic book movies. There's a couple of other really interesting movies coming out in a few days, right? And they're interesting because Zack Snyder had a major influence on them as well, because he invented live action remakes. We've got Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon coming out. And I've never been one of these like, live action remakes are the devil, right? 'Cause some people talk about these remakes like as if they're freaking, kicking puppies or something. But they're not all great, and we don't need them all, right? But Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon, they look good. I want to go see them, right? Stefania, I think you said you were gonna go see one of How to Train Your Dragon. You got your tickets?
I absolutely love How to Train Your Dragon. I have hold on.
Uh-oh. It's true when the headphones come off.
What is it gonna be?
Yeah, right?
It's a real dragon, right?
Yeah, right? It's like,
You want to see the big reveal?
It's an air starter.
I have a toothless plushie. So the story behind this
Not as
plushie.
exciting as I thought I was gonna be, but
Nope.
Oh, it gets better. So this is a Build-A-Bear toothless from when what was it, 2014 the second movie came out? I don't know, but the second movie came out, and they had a Build-A-Bear thing. And I went to Goodwill one day because I was thrifting for like a cosplay, and I needed a dragon. Like I was gonna buy this like plushy dragon on Amazon or whatever, but then I was about to head to check out, and then I looked up on this rack, and because I was looking at jackets, I looked up on the rack and I saw Toothless just sitting there, and he was only $3 or $4.99, and I bought him. Okay.
Steal.
But
whoa!
it's a steal, right?
Whoa!
But it gets even better because I did not know that he did this. I was playing around with him, whatever, and I squeezed one of his paws, and he roars. Hold on.
That's pretty cool.
That's a solid find for $4.
Solid find.
I'll
Right?
give you that. Yeah,
Right?
I'll give you that.
The roar
Steal.
takes it over the top. The roar
Yeah.
takes it over the top.
You
Yeah.
right?
No roar, not that cool.
Would not have
Roar.
been worth it.
No, exactly, right? I love him so much. His wings are like a little bent, but that's okay. I love it. I'm gonna keep him in my lap the rest of the episode now.
So to be clear, you're not gonna go see the movie?
No. Are you kidding me?
You're gonna take their pussy
Me and
to
my
see it.
toothlesses are not gonna go see this movie, okay?
You got tickets for them as well, right?
I
They're
got
gonna
tickets
be
for them as they're gonna sit. Yeah, they're gonna sit next to me. I'm gonna buy 3 seats, one for me in the middle.
Economy?
Yeah,
I
right?
have-
What are you, rich?
I get free tickets every month from Cinemark because I'm like a member or whatever. So free. And then this one will be to the right of me. This one will be to the left of me, and we're just gonna share popcorn, big
We've
tub
got
of popcorn together.
I think we've got a Regal dude over here. I don't think he's a
I don't even
Cinemark
have
kind of guy.
Regal.
Me? I'm a
Yeah.
Cinemark. I'm actually a Cinemark.
Oh, okay. All right, then we're all
Yeah.
Cinemark people then.
Yeah, we
they-
don't have a real near me, I don't think. I think only
Yeah.
in New York City. That's
they're the
probably
cheapest. They're
closest.
the cheapest,
I
baby.
love Cinemarks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go see this movie. I'm gonna buy the tickets and Toothless, you gonna go see the movie with me?
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I think he said yeah.
Kevin, I think you're definitely probably seeing it as well, right?
I will be seeing Lilo and Stitch. I probably will not be. I mean, I may go see How to Train Your Dragon like by myself or with my wife or something. But I don't know if my daughter's ready for that. It's a little more intense
Yeah.
of a film. But yeah, she's super psyched for Lilo and Stitch. We've been watching the original like all week already. We watched it like twice when she got home today, pretty much, and she's excited. So I mean, I'm one of those people that I think the live action remakes they're not a big deal at all. Like I think
Yeah.
people freak out way too much about them. I do think that they have a good if they're made with good intentions, I think they're kind of good things because you got to think of it, it's kind of a way to usher in this type of movie that we all grew up loving to a new audience. You know, you got to think like, you know, they didn't really have a chance. My daughter never had a chance to watch the original Lilo and Stitch in theaters like we did. And, you know, like, why not? You know, I mean, and it's being made by the same people. It's the same director. They brought the same guy
The same guy.
back to do the voice of Stitch, you know, like, whatever. Yeah, it's a cash grab, but like,
Everything's a
most
cash
movies are
grab.
cash grabs.
Yeah.
It is what it is, you know, like, you know, what do you want? So
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I think I liked the Mufasa one. I thought the Mufasa one was pretty well done.
It was pretty good. I didn't see it in theaters, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. So I mean, done well. Like I like the Jungle Book one. I do think there needs to be some time between like you making them though. Like I don't know, the How to Train Your Dragon one. It's like been like 10 years, and you're already coming out with like a live action.
Moana.
Moana's nuts. Like dude, they're
Yeah,
coming out
Moana's
with Moana
crazy.
3 the same year they're coming out with the live action of the
It
original.
doesn't make any sense. Choose
That is
one or the
bizarre.
other.
That's bizarre.
It's
Like
good. There has to be. Here's the thing: is like, obviously Snow White is a very isolated situation, right? Because you had like every type of politics that could be involved was in it. The Gal Gadot effect, the Rachel Zegler effect, right?
no
Because
one gives a shit about Snow White to begin with.
the
Like,
fact that exactly. So you know, that's, to me, that's kind of a one-off. But for other movies like Moana, where they're releasing part 3 with the live action remake that was made within what 5-7 years of the first regular animated one,
it's nuts. That is a
there
cat.
has to be. It's definitely a cash grab.
That's
but
a big cash grab.
there has to be some sort of like multi-billion-dollar research going into this, right? Because it's Disney. They have to be looking at something that says profits, right? They're not just going to release it. It's just I don't understand it. That's the thing, is I don't
The
get
second
it.
Moana made over $1 billion, and I thought it wasn't very good at all. I thought the second Moana was kind of ass, like, and it made over $1 billion because it's like once you have this brand that's loved by everyone, you slap Moana on anything, any kid under the age of 10 is gonna want to go see it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like when we were kids and you slap any sort of superhero thing on a movie, we want to go see it. You know, like
Yeah.
I was hyped
Yeah.
to see like the OG Daredevil, even though it was like ass. You know,
Me
like,
up. Yeah. The Moana 2 was actually supposed to be a show. That's why
Yeah.
it was so
and
ass.
you can tell,
can
it's just some weird cuts in it. Like it's like kind of bizarre.
They're like, we don't need to render, 30 more seconds. And just cut. Yeah, for sure.
End of episode. On to the next episode.
Yeah,
I
so-
will say about How to Train Your Dragon, yes, I really don't think we needed a live action, right? But one of the things I love about this movie is just the music, the score, and the fact that it's gonna be like the same score. Maybe they'll like change a few things, whatever, but like that main theme that you hear, you're gonna hear that. It's such a good score, and I just want to see it in the theaters because I didn't see How to Train Your Dragon in theaters when it came out.
Right.
So for me to experience that in theaters and with it not being the original, but like a live action remake, but it's still like kind of frame for frame, I'm really excited to to see it and just to hear it. I also really love dragons, so
Absolutely.
How do you guys feel about the concept of, instead of making live action movies, you just re-release the old movies in theaters? I took my daughter to go see, this was like a year ago, and they re-released Toy Story in theaters, and I took her. Dude, she was like in awe because she's only watched it on TV. And like, I almost feel like something that could be done, and I know it's not going to make the money of like putting the Lion King live action make $1.5 billion, but like, I almost feel like you can re-release some of these movies and market it. Be like, hey, we're re-releasing Lilo and Stitch in theaters, and I guarantee you're going to get a good amount of kids to go out and see that.
yeah.
It
You
makes
had
sense.
a Star Wars was so successful with the re-release the few
Yeah,
weeks
Revenge
ago.
of the Sith. Yep.
Yeah, I mean with the anniversary too, but like they were very successful. I think if they made this a thing, they could make some great money off of it. Not going to be like $1 billion like you said, but still keep doing it. It adds up.
Yeah. I think what it does best is it avoids like what happened to Snow White, where you had, what was it, 1938, the original, and then we grew up with it because we were fucking watching VHS tapes and stuff when we were growing up. So the accessibility to content isn't like what it is now. So yeah, this movie came around. Nobody cared, and I don't like to say who asked for this because there's plenty of stuff that nobody asked for that's amazing
No one
and great.
asks for any movie. No
Exactly.
movie has ever asked for. Like,
Exactly.
that's the dumbest
Exactly.
thing ever.
But for Snow White though, like, yeah, who asked for that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So re-releasing stuff, right? Like Back to the Future, for example, right? That's a terrible example because if they ever reboot Back to the Future, I will literally murder
It's not
somebody.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
gonna happen.
No.
I don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Zemeck has said like I'd rather die before
Yeah.
letting that happen. So
Yeah.
maybe not Star Wars, right? Star Wars or Toy Story, right? You're gonna start making Toy Story. They're releasing another one now, right? But that has stayed in the conversation a little bit over time, right? Like little things like Forky, the shorts on Disney Plus, the re-release in theaters, that kind of stuff. The re-release of Star Wars. They're obviously making new movies, but they're celebrating the anniversaries and they're bringing them back and they're keeping them in the conversation. They're keeping that community alive.
I'm gonna say one thing. Just I have to get it off my chest. They should make one live action movie, and it should be freaking Treasure Planet because that movie deserves more love. It's an amazing movie. Did you guys ever watch Treasure Planet?
Yeah, but
I didn't.
here's the thing, though. You know who needs to direct it.
What?
You know who needs to direct it.
Who? Zack Snyder. That would be the bane of my existence.
You're like, never mind.
They finally made a Treasure Planet fucking
Yeah.
live action movie and Zack Snyder's directing.
Zack Snyder's Treasure Planet. It's 4 hours
That was
long.
my 13th reason, I think.
Yeah.
It's just
I-
fun.
I will say, I kind of don't want them to do a Hercules live action. Hercules is my favorite Disney movie,
Too.
and I don't want them to do a live action. I just want them to leave it alone.
Well, it's happening.
I know, and all the
I'll see-
rumors that I hear about it, I'm like, stop.
I'll see how
Please.
Moana goes. I think if they pull off Moana okay enough in live action, they can maybe do Hercules.
Bro, Dwayne's gonna look so dorky as freaking
Yeah. Maui.
God, why am I blanking on
Yeah.
his name? Maui.
Maui. Yeah.
In live action. Like,
Yeah. But no, I think I'm with you guys on the Hercules thing because what is it? He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I see the behind the scenes of that and I'm just like, what is this?
it's goofy as fuck. Yeah, it
What
looks
in the
goofy.
CW is
It
this?
looks so goofy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Please no.
So
It's
we
just so hard to make a world look that looks like that in animation. That's why
Right.
maybe I take back my whole Treasure Planet thing because like it's really hard to make that unless you are a James Cameron, someone that is a visionary of making those worlds like
Mhm.
pop.
Yeah.
You know,
And
you're
spends
gonna have-
years developing it too.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
to do Hercules, like you can do it right, you gotta make that world like pop. like look
Yeah.
beautiful like it did in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, do it Spartacus style. No,
And
I'm kidding.
no, whatever, like the thing with TikTok, whatever. I don't know what they were talking about with that, but do you remember when they like mentioned like it's gonna be like kind of like I don't know appeal to like TikTok? I don't know what it was, but I
Oh,
was
that,
like
that I think that was just
that was like a false thing,
satire.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Satire. Okay,
It's like
thank
making
God.
fun of like this generation's, not our generation, but like the kids now, that it's like they
Yeah.
can't pay attention, so they have to make everything
Yeah,
to
yeah,
cater
yeah.
to the TikTok
Yeah,
attention
like
That's
span.
very
Netflix.
true.
Netflix is now like gonna make a feature, I guess, that you can like swipe and like watch little clips from TV shows to figure out if you want to watch it or not. Like it's gonna be like TikTok style. And I'm like,
Oh,
this is
I
where falling apart.
yeah,
I hate it.
yeah.
I hate it.
If I were in public and I saw somebody scrolling on Netflix, like TikTok, come on.
Just
It gets to a point.
punch him
It
in the
gets
face.
to a point.
But my
Now,
thing is, doesn't Netflix even do that? Don't when you like put
yes.
you go over the cursor on it, it like plays a part of the
Yes.
show. Doesn't it
Yeah.
already do that?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like so confused by this.
You know
I
what,
think the
though?
attention span people, I guess. I
I
don't know.
love the abyss of separation between Netflix, that is like experimenting with like video games on the app, with like they're gonna make it like a social media type thing. They're doing all this cool stuff, and then you've got HBO Max that can't even decide if it wants to be HBO Max or
They're like,
Max
I don't know,
or
man.
whatever. Yeah.
We don't need to actually innovate the app. We just need to figure out what name we want to stick
Just
with.
stay in
Yeah.
the conversation. We're doing. What are we shooting? We're shooting promos. Okay, have John Cena just make a joke about it, right? And then all the interviews, all the press is gonna be about it. I'll give it to them. The marketing, they really
It was
did.
good. It was
Yeah.
good. It
Yeah.
was funny. I made
Yeah.
that video, and then like 2 seconds later, I saw all the videos come out, and I was like, all right, it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
kinda-
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I
But it
will
is pretty-
say I like the name as HBO Max a lot
Yes.
more than
I
Max.
Yeah.
still call it HBO Max even before they
Same.
changed it back.
Same,
Yep.
because it's
Yep.
like, oh, I'm watching on Max. Who's Max? Like,
You're like, hey, yo,
Yeah.
on Max.
cue the SVU theme.
Dun dun. Yeah, I don't have a thing. We're gonna have to
No,
pretend.
Justin, our
Yeah.
guy.
Alrighty, so we are kind of approaching the end of the show here, so I just want to quickly wrap up and have us predict our movie of the year. Okay, Stefania, what is going to be your movie of the year? Are you? It could be anything. It could be popularity. It could be the most memes come from it. It could be, whatever. What's going to be your movie of the year?
Like my favorite movie of the year.
It could be anything you want. You can interpret that however you want.
You know, based off of like I guess the big three coming out this summer, because I don't know what else is coming out the rest of the year. I'm gonna say my favorite from this year might surprisingly be Superman. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna really enjoy Superman. Maybe because of like it's like a refresh from like seeing so much Marvel stuff, and now we're like getting on a new DC wave, and I actually might be excited for that a tiny bit more. But I think the most successful movie of the year will probably be Avatar. We have to wait till the end of the year for it, right? Because
It only has a week in theater.
Does it? Oh,
Kevin,
oh,
it
no.
comes out Christmas. Kevin said. When does it come out?
Let me see. I think it comes out this year, right? Or does it come out next year? Return 3. Yeah, it comes out December 19th, 2025.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
might make
Avatar
They make
easily.
$1 billion in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Avatar easily makes $1 billion. Like when the last movie came out, all I heard was like rave reviews about the movie and how beautiful it was and all that. So I have no doubt that it's going to be the most successful. But my favorite of the year might be Superman.
Okay. All right, Justin. I think I know what you're. Sorry, Kevin. I think I know what you're gonna say. What,
Justin, you called him Justin?
Yeah, I'm used to having Justin. I miss him. My heart calls for Justin. Justin,
I
I
can't
miss you.
fill that void for you.
Yeah, there you go.
What do you think mine's going to be? You said you were going to make a guess.
I think you're going with Jurassic World. I think
Like
you're,
my favorite of the year, or like
I
the highest box office?
I think whatever you were gonna say.
All right, so my highest box office prediction is Avatar.
Right.
I mean, I think that's kind of everyone's. I'm gonna do 3 choices that I think are gonna be, of the 3. I think one of them is gonna be my favorite of the year. I'm gonna go with 28 Years Later because I'm like a giant fan of that franchise. I'm gonna go with, oh man, you know what? I'm gonna go with Jurassic World Rebirth. I have faith in it. I have faith in Gareth Edwards, the director, to make it look beautiful. ScarJo's in it. Come on now. And then my third one's going to be Avatar 3. I like Avatar, so those are my 3 choices for my favorite of the year. Probably.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going Fantastic Four in terms of favorite. Simply for Ben Grimm, though. I am extremely biased for Eben Moss Bacharach. Like,
he's amazing.
I love that dude. And
Cousin.
then Cousin, I love him. And actually, did you notice that in season 1 of The Bear, he has the Chicago accent? It's much heavier in season 1.
No, I did not. I did not recognize that.
It's almost like The Bears, like it's not that bad, but it's a heavier Chicago accent. And then I guess between seasons they were like, don't worry about it anymore, and then not, yeah.
It's like with the Scarlet Witch's accent. What happened to it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's gonna probably be my favorite, and then the what is it? The family dynamic. I think that's gonna get me. Me for sure. I think Superman's probably gonna be a close second, and that's just me purely like from feeling the movies, right? In terms of probably like what's a good movie, what's gonna like rock the house, what's gonna be fun. I think Jurassic World has potential. I think it has it. I think it might technically make more this year because it'll have more time than Avatar. It just depends on how they do with the marketing. Yeah. Because I could see them fumbling the marketing. I could see them. I cannot tell you a marketing campaign for the Jurassic World franchise that was memorable. Like how you have all these. Sinners had one with Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, and they had these like memorable interview experiences and press tour. Marvel always has pretty solid ones too. Mm-hmm. Mission Impossible.
Final Destination had a great campaign run.
Yeah.
Before the movie came out.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think they know they don't fucking need to do anything. I think all they have to do is slap a Jurassic World thing on the box office thing, and people will come. I mean, it's just,
you're not wrong.
A couple trailers on TV, and I don't know, man. People flock to those things. It's kind of nuts.
That's true. It does have that general audience's appeal. And you know what? They might do the opposite. They might be like, hey, this mutant T-Rex thing might turn people off. Yeah. So let's not do too much marketing. Right?
And I'll tell you for me, I think Sinners is going to be hard to beat for me, because I will say, it kind of has the Doom Part 2 effect for me. I had Doom Part 2 is my favorite movie of last year, and it came out in March, and it stayed that way all year. And I watched Sinners twice now, and the first time I watched it, I loved it. Second time I watched it, because my wife hadn't seen it, it shot up. So if I watch it one more time and catch a couple things I didn't realize, I don't know, it's gonna be tough to beat. It's such a good movie.
Yeah, because the first time you're watching it, and specifically I had seen a couple TikToks, and the ancestors scene. Mm-hmm. There's a few TikToks talking about it, and they're like, there's gonna be a scene, you're gonna see it. I'm not gonna spoil it, but when you see it, you'll know that this is the scene I'm talking about. That scene was amazing. And
it's such a layered movie. It's such a layered movie that every time you watch it, you catch. I left the theater with my wife after seeing it for the second time. I was like, wow, I like that movie so much more than I saw it the first time.
It demands rewatching it. so that you can, yeah, exactly, for sure. Okay, so pretty interesting predictions. I feel really happy that we got some predictions in without Justin here.
Yes.
Kevin, just so you know, Justin loves to do predictions. He likes to be like, well, what do you think? And it's not, well, you know
guys
what,
gotta
Justin?
have me on- You guys gotta have me on with Justin one time. All right.
Yeah, we'll get you
Yeah.
back on the show. That way you could tell him that I'm a better host. So that's our show. That's our show, everybody. Kevin, thanks for joining us.
you so
Before we
much,
wrap up
man.
here, let everyone know where they can find you.
So, if you want to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, what I've been posting on Facebook lately, it's a cesspool. Don't ever post on there. But if you want to follow me, it's movie review man. There's 3 mans. So you'll probably see me somewhere. I'm posting everywhere. So give me a follow.
Perfect.
if you see me.
Perfect. And as always, he'll be tagged down below. We'll be tagged down below as well. And wherever you're watching this or listening to it, make sure you give us the thumbs up. You give us, what is it, 5-star rating, Stefania?
I always 5-star.
5-star
Always.
ratings. I just don't know what the scale is. So 5-star ratings, please. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, YouTube thumbs up, subscribe, follow, donate, send us money, like checks in the
Comment,
mail.
ask us questions too,
Comments.
and we'll
Yeah.
answer them on the pod.
Yeah. Let us know what you think your favorite movie of the year is going to be. What's going to be a financial success or not. But other than that, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.